All right, a reboot. A reboot hopefully took care of it. I don't know. Sorry, folks. From my standpoint, I was just talking. All of a sudden, I start seeing comments like, "Wait, what's going on? Everybody's losing their minds." Uh-oh. Okay. My investigation yesterday yielded me nothing. Cole says, "Don't you have a Twitch insider guy? Probably need to reach out to him." I don't anymore, unfortunately. David says, "Time for a better platform. Twitch sucks." Rebecca says, "Twitch is making a run for asshole of the day again." You know, you've got a routine, and you don't like the apple cart upset. And that is a very flattering thing to me. So I appreciate people like, "Oh, come on, I need this. This is messing everything up for me." All right. Well, keep me informed as it is on your end. Kind of ruined the spell of what I was talking about. I don't even recall anymore. I think it was something gun-related. And then I think the last thing I remember is Chris in Buffalo, which I didn't read this, said a horrible joke. He writes, when I was talking about guns, getting an AR-15, he says, "Yeah, I was looking at the Kirk Killer 900. Too soon?" Yeah, it might be. I think you're safe here. Badger says YouTube works fine. Well, for now, I'll just keep on keeping on, and hopefully this will sort itself out. Aram says maybe it is Twitch. I think it is. We actually talked about this yesterday. We did have confirmation from our pals Yoda Whirl and Tophus, who said that they talked to other streamers and they're having the same issue. But what specifically it is not known. Nevertheless, we press on. Coming up later on this evening, it is a Big Fraud Wednesday. And we're doing Who Are These Free Beers show number 70? Yes, show number 70. And I cannot wait to get to it again. I got a couple of tip-offs on content. I've mentioned Pat Phipps before. Pat is he's one of the MAGA gang, and he's a terrific follower of the content and sends me awesome timestamps. And he did a bang-up job, including this. There's a segment that I'm going to feature where Steve is telling a story. And one of the things that we've parked on is Steve has really been leaning into his son for content. And look, if Steve's walking down the street and he sees baby Jesus come down from the sky, when he's describing what he saw, it's going to be boring. Not only in how he tells it, but just the sound of his voice. He has a very awful delivery and tone. It's when I do this impression of Steve, it's like that. That's how Steve sounds. So anyway, yeah, Steve ordering pizza. Yeah, I'll take a medium, 2 toppings. I'll have pepperoni and sausage, extra cheese, and I'll take 2 bottles of Coke. If you could deliver that. That's Steve. Steve, though, one of things that we've talked about he does is he buys time on all of his stories by really focusing on the backstory. And just way too much of it. And boy, does he lean into it with this one. This comes from the week of September 8th to the 12th. And thank you to Pat Phipps for sending it my way. I was able to pull a ton of material of this long-winded, painful story that he tells with zero zip, zero punch, nothing. So bad. Desperately terrible. We'll feature that. Ben Glaze has a number of clips that he is going to feature. So that is part of Who Are These Free Beers coming up 6 p.m. Eastern, Patreon only. Sign up for 7 days free. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. If you love supporting the show and you like the content and you're like, boy, I wish there was more content. That's where you get it. Patreon. I post new material every single day in addition to what I do here. That's why it takes so much time to do a podcast. That's why I'm so damn busy. Free podcast. Patreon podcast. I want you, the consumer, to have as much as you want. And Patreon is enough to satisfy that, hopefully, for all of you. Now, the last thing I want you to do, though, is be like, all right, Zane's kind of a loser. I'm just going to get Patreon and then not even listen to it. Yeah, I don't need that. I mean, I'll take it, but what I'm looking for is the person who needs more content or enjoys this enough that they want to get the other shows that I feature. And it's not just Who Are These Free Beers. That's only once a week. I do the daily Patreon bonus podcast, which the last week has had some terrific moments that just aren't talked about on the free podcast. Gives you some insight to some things going on that I think you'd be interested in. I really do. Not to mention the Ben and Eric Patreon podcast tonight. So go to Patreon and sign up for 7 days free. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. Cole writes, is the Steve and Pedo show still a thing? Who the fuck would listen to that? Well, I don't know about a show called Steve and the Pedo. I'm not aware of that. But I am aware of the Steve and Kyle show. And you can draw your own conclusions. And I think it is still a thing. Man Bun Chris says that Andrew Cloudkicker is aware. Oh, Andrew Cloudkicker. Holy shit. I think the anxiety that I felt when Andrew Cloudkicker reached out to me via Facebook was equally as horrible as when I got fired 2 months earlier from Free Beer. The 2 month earlier thing when I got fired is when I had never felt anxiety before, and it was terrible. I mean, it was debilitating. That's when I contemplated suicide 3 times over like a 48-hour period. It was almost institutionalized. I actually did go, and they almost kept me against my will, but they did not work through it. It's done. But before it was done, 2 months later, this whistleblower reaches out to me and gives me some information about something terrible and informs me some awful news about something radio related. I'm keeping it vague on purpose because I'm smart. And what? Huh? Who is a what? I marched down the hallway and I go walking up to my coworker and I said, yeah, somebody just blew the whistle on you. Is this true? And I said, have you been incarcerated? Have you been convicted of a crime? Yes. What? Stay there. Run down to the boss. Hey, we got a problem. This is 6 days into my job at BBL. We got a problem. What? All right. This is what I got sent to me. This is the conversation I just had. Oh, my God. The next day, I do the radio show by myself. The guy that I was talking to never set foot in the radio station ever again. I'll never forget. I was laying on the floor of the studio. I couldn't even stand. I was so riddled with anxiety. Ugh, the worst. That all could be about anybody. You have no idea who it is. Man Bun Chris says, wasn't that like the third day in? No, it was. It was 6 days into my time at BBL. I started the show on a Thursday. I did the Thursday show. I did a Friday show, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday through Thursday. The next Thursday is when this was revealed to me. When, do you remember Michael Gray? Michael Gray was on the air on mornings on BBL doing the sports show, whatever the fuck. Nobody listened. That's one thing that's constant throughout my years. If Michael Gray's on the radio, no one's listening. When Cumulus called me and said, we want to put you on BBL, I said, okay. And the first thing that happened was they said, we want to meet you. And we wandered over to Pepino's or some shit like that to eat. And the guy who was running the radio station at BBL is a guy named Jeff Cartwright. He's a fucking dickhead. And the general manager was a guy, I forget his name, but he's a nice guy. And we go to this place and we're talking. And some audience members come up to say hi and get a picture. And Cartwright's such a dickbag that he goes, did you set these guys up to like improve your clout? I go, no. What the fuck is wrong with you? And so then the next meeting is another restaurant. And he goes, we're not going to tell you where we're going till we're almost there. So that he's telling me this. He still thinks that I set that up. And so I'm like, well, that's just dumb, but all right. We go to another restaurant and nothing happens. But then I'm walking out. And while we're walking out, this guy stops me. It's an audience member. It's the same thing. And it turns out that guy, that audience member, was Drew from Impact Power Sports. I think it was Drew. It was either Drew or one of you, but I think it was Drew. And then they were like, oh, shit. So then I soaked them for every fucking penny I could. And that eventually dried up 2.5 years later when I got fired. But so this is like 1 month after I've been fired. And there's a lot of things that have to happen in that month between them agreeing to the contract and then getting on the air. So much so that 3 or 4 weeks passes. So I've been out of work for 2 months. The first month, I didn't have any prospects. Then this opened up. So then now what they're going to do is they're going to fire Michael Gray. And this is the guy who was on GRD when I showed up at GRD, and he got fired because he sucked, and they put us on. So now I'm going to be involved in his second firing in Grand Rapids. But he doesn't know it. So I know he's a dead man walking, but of course I don't say anything about it. But someone does. And I don't know how the fuck that happened, because the only people that knew about it were, personnel within the radio station. But somebody, tipped off Michael Gray. And he's not supposed to know. And so I wasn't quite prepared to go on the air yet, but he goes in to Cartwright's office, and according to what Cartwright told me, he throws his key card on the desk, and he's furious that he knows, so he quits or whatever the fuck happens. I don't. And then he posts a cryptic post on Facebook that says, "A fish rots from the head down," which that's what Man Bun Chris says. Remember the post, "Fish rot from the top down"? And I had never heard that, and I was like, what does that mean? And they're like, I think that's something from The Godfather. I don't know. Man Bun Chris says, and Greg liked it. No, you're combining stories. He did not like that one. At this point in time, I have no beef with Free Beer and Hot Wings. Anyway, what's his name? Gray gets all pissed off, and that's the end of Gray. Start the show Thursday because the story leaked. And then 6 days in, the shit hits the fan. Honestly, we were dead before. We were dead in the water before we even started there. I would love another opportunity in mornings in Grand Rapids radio. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I am under 1 million times less pressure now. If I had an opportunity to do mornings, it is it's in Grand Rapids. It's no longer make or break, because when I started mornings in Grand Rapids on BBL, it was incredible pressure, which was made 10 times worse when 6 days in, all that shit with Andrew Cloudkicker broke. And it was awful. It was very, very difficult. Now, it would be a supplemental job at best, because it's taken me 7 years. Wait, 7 years? Yeah, it'll be 7 years in January of building this. And this is my primary. This is all of my, most of my eggs are in this basket, but I've got several other things cooking, as you know, with sports announcing and teaching and whatnot. But my point is, there's no pressure anymore. Man Bun Chris says, is that what the hint about another start time is about? So what you have there is Chris's rabbit ears are up. Well, if I had the opportunity